Hello students, this is Nitesh Kumar. Today's class we will learn about the cascading style sheet, which is popularly known as CSS. It's a most interesting language for the HTML, which specifies the rules for organizing the elements for a web document, and with the help of CSS we can make more attractive web pages. It not only extends its features to control the color sizes of the font, but also controls the spaces between the various elements of the document. Basically, it deals with the DSTML in both Netscape Navigator 4.0 and Internet Explorer 4.0. CSS also allows a way to create a set of styles for the web pages, which the elements which you specify in the HTML documents can be rendered on the web page. Cascading style sheet positioning is an extension to the CSS that developer can use the pixel level control over the location of anything on the screen. It means that a pixel level control we can have on our web page with the help of CSS positioning, which is called as CSSP. Now we can see a simple specification is given. By this you can understand very easily how you can specify the CSS selector. This is called as a selector. Now you can see the P. uh, P is the tag in a HTML. Whenever we use a P tag, we can frame the paragraph in the HTML document. Now, if I use this P as a selector in the CSS, I have to define the property. Now I have the property font hyphen size is the property. Okay, and thereafter there is a colon. Colon is work like a equals to operator, and 20 pt is a 20 point. 20 point is a font size for a paragraph. So whenever I use this selector in the HTML document, I can able to control the entire paragraph to font size of 20. So rest of the document size may vary, but whenever I use the paragraph tag, I will be having only 20 pt of size for that paragraph. Okay, so therefore P is called as a selector. Okay, and font size is a property. Thereafter the colon to bifurcate the property and the value associated. The 20 pt is the value, and after that you can see semicolon. At the end of the value associated to a particular property, we have to put a semicolon. And even though after semicolon also I can go for the n number of properties and their associated values. So we can specify n number of properties and value associated to those properties in a selector. It's not mean that only we can have one property and one value. We may have number of properties and their associated values. Now in CSS, we oftenly to control these styles and to use the positioning, we use the div tag. So div is a tag which we can use it in the HTML document. Like you can see here, I have used one div tag, opening div tag. This is an example of div tag and closing div tag. It means that I can use one div tag to mention the division for a particular positioning of my contents of the web page, whatever content it may be. Okay, so we may have any kind of content in the div tag and n number of HTML tags in it. Okay, there is no much difference between the div tag and p tag. So As like a p tag, we can use the div tag and it will also produce the same kind of result. Now here we have the second example, okay, of the div. We can go for the id equals to computer. So computer is a id which we need to specify in the css document. If I create a separate css document, if I create css file and if I specify selectors over there, so I can use that selector in the id, so that the entire division will get affect with that id and its property and associated values. Now for here, in the css we have three types of style sheets. As you see here, we have inline style sheet, we have internal or embedded style sheet, that is the second one, and the third one is the external style sheet. So let us have the first one, inline style sheet. Inline style sheet means whenever while writing a HTML document, if we want to apply any kind of styles to our HTML document, so we may refer the inline style sheet with the help of style keyword. You can see in the double quote we have style. Style is a keyword as an attribute of the selector. So we can use the style keyword as an attribute of the selector. Now we can see here we have used paragraph tag, we have used style and equals to color. Now you can see the color is the property, colon, purple is the value associated. So this value is associated with the color property. Similarly, font family, sans serif font is associated with the font family, and bold is associated with weight, and 25 px stands for pixels. So developer can control the pixel, uh, we can control our content on our web page or in the form of pixels, so hence we are using px here. Now we can see here we have this paragraph and thereafter a closing p tag. This is the end of the paragraph, and whatever the style we have defined here, that style will be applicable to this paragraph only, not to the second paragraph. A second paragraph is a normal paragraph which is closed here after this h1 tag. Again we have used br tag, and we have a third paragraph over here, and again we are having the style tag over here. So we are using the style. So here we are not using style as a separate tag, we are using it as a keyword. Now if we are using it as a keyword, what will happen, we cannot define a separate selectors for the style tag. We can just have the properties and their associated value which can be applicable to h1. Now h1 will become a selector now. Okay, now whatever the value is there, all the values are applicable to h1 tag. So whatever we write in opening h1 and closing h1 tag, so that paragraph will get effect with these values. And thereafter this is the closing paragraph tag, this is the end of the third paragraph, and you can see the third paragraph is also applicable with the css style. And now if we go to the fourth paragraph, it doesn't have any css rules, so therefore we have written This passage is not under the influence of CSS rule specification. So thereafter, the closing body tag and closing HTML tag, this is the end of the inline style sheet. This is the first CSS style sheet. The second type of CSS style sheet is internal or embedded style sheet. Now, in this case, what we do, whatever the properties we need to declare for the CSS has to be declared in the head region of the HTML document. Even though we can go for the body region also, but most probably we use head section whenever you uh, open your web page. Before opening a web page, the head section, all the styles will be compiled and executed, or we can say interpreted by the browser. So hence we usually define and declare the variable in the head section. In the body region, we use the code along with their selectors. Now let us have one example also related to this internal style sheet. We have one program over here, and you can see in a head section we have declared a style as a tag. Style type equals to text slash CSS, and we have closed it. So this is the opening style tag, and before closing the head we have closing style tag. So in between opening and closing style tag we have h1 selector over here, and we have p selector, we have body selector. So we have declared three selectors in the body region, and we have closed the head, we have opened the body, and we have written the contents in the body section. And after that, whenever I use the P, this font value, text alignment left, text indentation 0.5 and font size 1.5 pt is applicable. Sorry, 15 point, font size 15 pt means point is applicable to this paragraph tag. And when your web page is loaded into browser, automatically the body tag background color is automatically getting yellow. So this is how you can use this second type of style sheet, that is the embedded or internal style sheet. The third one is external style sheet. So now, closely analyzing the above two styles of representation, the following fact remains the primary focus. That is, the uses of inline style sheet is restricted to a single selector. Of course, it is a single selector and it is only applicable to a single web page. If we want to apply these selectors and their styles to the other pages also, we need to write again. So it is a again we are writing it, and again it is a time consuming process. So using embedded or internal style sheet brings about the changes only to a single web page. So these are the two concern areas. So if we go for inline style sheet, it is restricted to a single selector and applicable to only uh, single element, or you can say the tag of the HTML. And if we go to the second method, it is only applicable to a single web page. So we cannot apply to the n number of pages. Now what we need to do is to avoid these two cons. We must have the external style sheet. What external style sheet does, if we are working on multiple applications, where the each application is accounting for a large number of web pages. Then writing CSS rules for each page is quite time consuming process, and we might having a different problems we might to solve individually, so it consumes more resources, more time. So hence uh, what we do is we use the external style sheet. So here we have one example. Let us analyze this example. By considering this simple example, we are having one file. Assume that rules.css, and we have declared body h1, table th and td. So these are the total 5 selectors we have used in the CSS file. And in the next file, next is the HTML file. We may have n number of HTML file. Here we have only one example, that is external.html file. In external.html file, just I will go to the notepad. Now here I have created one rules.css file. Okay, the type becomes the cascading style sheet document. Now external.html, so I have created external.html file. So I will just open the external.html in notepad. Okay, now what I did here, uh, as like a normal HTML page, we may write the all the contents, and in the head section I have mentioned it title tag, and I have closed the title tag, and thereafter in a head section I used a link tag. So why I did use this link tag is I want to link that rules.css file to my HTML document. To any HTML document you want to link that rules.css file, all the CSS selectors rules you want to implement into your web page, you need to have the link tag. Now link rel equals to style sheet in double quote, thereafter href hyper reference equals to, in double quote I have to mention the location where the rules.css file is stored. So after this I just need to close the head section, and as usually I need to have all my HTML document and its tags, okay, like tables, everything. So this is how you can create a document. Now if I open this document I can get this kind of result. Okay, once again what I do, I will just close it. I will open the Internet Explorer. In Internet Explorer, just I need to specify the path over here, else I will click on the file and I will click on the open, and I will click on the browser, and I need to select the location where I have stored my external.html file. Select it and click on the open, and here just click on the OK. Now you can see the style which is there in the rules.css is applicable to my web page. Now here I will just open this file in notepad. I will make one change here so that you can understand. Now here in the body selector, the background color is red. Just I will remove this red and I will write yellow. and I will just save this document. I will go to Internet Explorer and just I will refresh this, and you can see the changes. This is how you can use the CSS styles. So this is the end of the CSS style sheet. We will again come back with a new video with a new concept. Thank you.